My agent sent me the script, and I remember the day I got it. I was sitting in the editing room working on Like a Prayer, the video I did for Madonna, and I had just recently completed my first feature film, which was Siesta, with Ellen Barkin and Jodie Foster and Gabriel Byrne, and I thought, a horror movie. I didn't really consider myself a horror director at that time. I love Stephen King, though, and I read all of his books, so I read the script, and I got very intrigued with the visual possibilities of the movie, and I met with Paramount. But the test I had to pass was I had to meet with Stephen King. So I flew to New York and had that meeting, and it was just a really good meeting. Stephen and I really hit it off. I mean, I remember our collaboration with great fondness, because whenever I needed to discuss something creatively, he was always available to me.
I love that. I mean, it's his Hitchcock cameo, and he's perfect for it, He looks like he should be at a funeral. It was priceless, it really was. And Stephen King was a very nice man. He actually came to the readings when we first got up there to Maine, and he would sit there and drink a can of Jolt, and he'd read out loud from the obituaries, So whether he was playing the part of being Stephen King or not, I found it fascinating. And his house was 20 minutes from where we were shooting, so he was there a lot. It was so frightening to think that someone you love might die if you don't get there in time. And so when we finally got to shoot the part where I'm down on my knees, that scream that came out came from that deep fear in all of us of losing someone we love.
So the sequence where he bites Judd's neck, he actually does bite Judd, but we worked it out where he was playing with Judd, and you're going to pretend to bite me, but you won't really bite me because that would, hurt me, and that's a bad thing. And so he came over and he falls on Judd, and then his time was up, and he went back to his nursery, and then we put the prosthetic on and then brought the puppet in, and then when the head pulls away, it's a very quick shot, and the puppet's head is out quickly, and you're focused on the wound and on the horror of what's just happened. And a lot of credit to Fred. If you watch that scene carefully, that's acting. That's what sold it. Once the taboo had been broken, along with the resurrection of the cat and the baby, demonic forces were unleashed in the area. And the demonic forces were bringing back the fear that Rachel Creed had at her sister's death.
I finally came back for you, Rachel.
And that Gage, or the demon that he has become, would assume the form of Zelda when Rachel first sees him. And that fear would then be driven away by the sight of her own son. So I dressed Gage in this little velveteen outfit that was reminiscent of the portrait that was hanging in Rachel's home, because I wanted the demons that destroyed Rachel to come from her past. So I just went for sort of maximum.
What happens terribly in the finale, of course, of Pet Sematary is that the father who wishes to have his child back, who's died as a result of a terrible accident, then suffering the death of a child in an accident, and hence, again, the moral, sometimes dead really is better.
Well, the final fight between Gage and Lewis was really difficult, because it was going to be difficult to believe that someone that was 2.5 feet high could successfully. The house across the street from the Creed house was just a little modern cottage, and it was wrong for Judd, and we knew we had to burn it down. So what we did was we built a complete facade for the Judd Crandall house, and we could protect the house that was there with some sort of asbestos shield, and then we burned down the skin on camera. And how at the end of the movie, that was a really hard scene for Denise. Because that makeup was really horrible. It was a very good prosthetic. It really did look like her face had been eaten away.
I've been lucky enough to kiss some really beautiful women over the years, when I've been filming. And
kind of with a smile on their face that, oh, that Lewis, he did it again.
I never thought it would be as popular as it was, nor did I ever dream that it would have such longevity. It's still popular. People still recognize me from it. And so for good reason, it hasn't disappeared, and I don't think it will. It's one of those landmark horror films for the Stephen King canon.
It took everyone by surprise. Nobody expected it to be such a success. I mean, I will always be incredibly thankful to Stephen for giving me that material and the opportunity to do that, because it's very, very satisfying to see that it holds up visually.
Well, I think the movie holds up too because it's, it's a character study, in a lot of ways. Because you're just following this family's, path of tragedy. And everyone deals with tragedy a different way. And Stephen King deals with it the way Stephen King deals with it.
Sometimes